how do we deal with somebody that is really good at creating space and getting their knees to their chest? Ultimately, battleground is between the chin and the belt knot. That's the battleground. That's what we want to control, at least in terms of trying to pin somebody, keep them down. Now, you've heard me tell you earlier this week that anymore I view side control as more of a transitional position. There's two thought processes here, and you got to pick which one you want to be, okay? Pick which type of grappler you want to be. You want to be the type that, the smish, you want to be a smish guy, okay? Smish. You want to smish people, where everything you do is completely based on keeping their shoulders pinned and their hips pinned. Fine, okay? Problem with that is, if you're not giving them a little bit of space, you're not going to open up secondary processes like taking the back, going to the mount, things like that. Now, mount you might be able to get to by simply smashing somebody, but opening up and taking the back, kind of a different thing. There's two schools of thoughts here. If you give them space and you're not pinning them, they have the ability to roll the turtle, okay? Therefore, getting out of your side control, possibly get back to their feet. Yes, those are all options. Or you can be the type that wants to smish. You keep people flat on their back. You're like, we're staying here. We're not going nowhere. Okay? Whichever school of thought you are, I'm not going to say one is incorrect or one is better than the other, but you have to understand the consequences of each. Tonight, we're going to talk about that very rare guy that is really good at getting his knees back to his middle and meets the knees to the elbows. We're not talking about the hip scooter, the guy that drives the knee in really well. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about that guy who knows how to create space enough to start bringing his knees to his elbows while you're on top, okay? He doesn't really cant the hips so much one way or the other, just really good at offsetting you enough. Say he kind of hits a little bit of a bump here and he gets this inside. Next thing you know, this knee's coming inside and he's framing away. You're kind of in a ball here. You're attacking basically an egg, okay? Really hard to contend with, but we're going to start talking about dominance, points of control, what we need to look at, and how we play with this. I told you earlier, when I start to get resistance, the first thing that I want to do is I want to get my hands out and I want to deploy all my posts. So the second that I start to feel anything, if I'm holding here, which I rarely do this anymore, most of the time I'm in that collar, that lapel, where I pull the lapel through and I'm floating this hand. The second that I start to feel like he's trying to disrupt my base or pop, I deploy all my posts and I get super heavy and I start driving my hips into it, okay? That's step one. Then I'm gonna look and see which way he's gonna start to work from there. Either he's gonna be the type that wants to turn and scoot his hips out and start to get a knee inside. It's gonna be that guy. Or he's looking to bench me up high enough that he can start pulling his arm underneath, maybe rolling away, working on an opposite angle there, going away from me. Or he's just the guy that wants to just bring his knees to his belly and start getting up into here like this. Okay. Now this works for all of them. So the second he bumps, I deploy posts and I start to get super heavy right here, and I want to trap the hip between my hand and the knee. Okay. If he starts to bring a knee inside, we talked about twisting my hips to the front, twisting my hips to the back, folding this direction, folding this direction. What we have not talked about is floating on top. Okay. So as soon as he deploys, or as soon as he turns, I deploy my posts, he starts to hip escape and bring his knees inside. First thing that I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna pop, but I'm gonna bring my heels together. Okay. My legs come together and I settle my knees sort of inside. Now the battleground becomes right here, controlling the knees. So I'm trying to bring everything in up underneath me. What I don't want to happen is I don't want to leave legs deployed out here. I don't want for him to be able to start scooping and catching a leg on the backside and get to half guard. One of the biggest mistakes that we make is when somebody pops like this, and I pinch it, somebody turns and they pop. I get this leg long and he ends up scooping this leg because it's super long and I get caught in half guard. And that's a big problem, okay? So if I can pull everything up underneath me and keep it tight, he kind of winds up scrambling a little bit. He's floundering. There's not a lot for him to grab a hold of. Because my focus becomes to fight my chest and get chest to chest and get back inside of his knees and his elbows. and dominate the space between the chin and the belt. So he pops, and I'm going to pop up to both my feet to kind of this squat, this owl squat position here, where both of my heels are touching. My hands are on the deck, here, right here on the mat. Okay. Now I get a read on where he's going to go. I can now fold my knees inside, kind of come to that position that Master JD was talking about in the seminar. Makes it easy to go there, right? Or if I'm up here like this, and he decides to really start benching and moving one way or the other. If he goes this way, I can pull this elbow and prevent him from going where? He can't go to turtle. Now he gave me an opportunity to open him up and take what? Take the back. We're talking about creating opportunities safely. How do we do that without just completely abandoning control and losing side control? So if I'm here, now he decides, okay, well, I'm going to turn into it. Now we can go ahead and deploy the knee on belly, right? If I'm here, he decides to start pushing off my knee. Now I can go ahead and deploy knee on chest, all right? I can start to work to control this position right here, and I can kind of float over the top of him, maintaining my balance. So the drill, what I want you to do here, 2 parts. The second that my partner starts to give me some resistance by pushing, I deploy my posts and I open up. Belly to belly. Okay, offset, deflect that push. I don't want to stay down here because now it becomes a bench press. And this is how the knees get brought back inside. All right. Resistance as he pushes, boom. I offset that, get angle, start to get my feet back up underneath me. Now I get to get a second look at what he's wanting to do. Okay. Makes his mind up. Whichever way he goes, there's the hop. I draw my legs inside, preventing him from getting to any type of half guard, anything. No full guard opportunity either, because my knees are now at my elbows from right here. Okay. Now, if I beat him, my knees on the inside, what's probably the best way for me to go from here? Yeah, heck yeah, man. Sliding through, bust on into the mount. Okay. So I'm ahead in the game. Instead of staying here and trying to hold when he bridges and scoots out, and now I've got to deal with the knee, which most of you guys are doing right now. You're like, oh, now I'm fighting to get around, and it becomes this thing. Right? That's not what I want to do. I want to beat him. Get yourself out of the habit of being a static target and move and stay ahead in the game. So he pushes, boom. There's my deployment. I'm going to get in here tighter. Now if I get some secondary push, draw my legs inside. Now I'm squatting over the top of him and I'm balanced. Is my goal to pin him here? Not so much. Okay? I still have all the things that I was looking at earlier. Do I not? All the things, because I'm up on my feet. Okay? First thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the hop, and then we're going to go through a bunch of sequences. Kicking over the head, knee on belly, driving them out. We're going over all that. Let's get it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. A couple questions come to mind. Why not just spring right up into knee on the belly? Well, I can tell you, knee on belly, you know, as much as it at your level right now, it looks like it's hard to defend. It's not as hard to defend as you would think, okay? The higher you go, guys get really, really sharp at attacking this knee. They have so many little kind of tweaks to their game that they use that they can really, really get to this leg very quickly. So if I've got a leg out, one of the reasons why I'm not so keen on just popping right up to knee on belly is because if I've got this leg this far out, if I want to make a switch around the head or I want to switch and go the opposite way, what has to happen to this? It's got to come back in the first place anyway. And if I'm just going to be here, why not just be here for now? Until I know which way he's going to go and gives me some clear indication of what he wants to do. Right? Because if I get here, once I get here, how many knees does he focus on pushing off of? Right? we get to at least double our opportunities to have some indication which way he's going to go. And I can actually move and work off of that. Okay, this is incredibly difficult, even from a passing perspective. Now, most of you guys that have been with me long enough, you've seen the benefit of what we call the knee knocking. Right? You start talking about when we pass guard. When do you ever see me passing guard like this? Never. Every time I pass the guard, there's a whole lot of coming in here like this and playing super, super tight with my knees down because it limits his guard structure options. When I'm here, he can't separate the legs. De La Riva becomes incredibly difficult. Butterfly is damn difficult. Just can't get down the middle, right? But the minute that I go here, I open up all those structures. It's not that different from playing down here on the side, okay? So if I can, I want to spring up. My first pop-up, the second he turns, is that deploy my post, get heavy, get everything ready to spring up and pop up. The reason I don't want to be down here is because there's no effective way to pop up from down here. When I open up, lock my elbows out, my toes are in the mat, my feet are both active. Now I can spring up. It's like I'm springing up on a surfboard. Okay, I'm going to hop up into it. Both legs are going to come up. They're going to get gathered right up underneath my butt. All right. So now, once I hit my pop, he starts to push away. I deploy my post. Now he has to make a decision. So his first choice, I'm going to start to push away, bridge, or I'm going to push away. I deploy my post. Now I'm sitting here going, okay, which way are we going to go? Because I still don't know yet. He can push this way and then all of a sudden push this way. Once he makes his decision which way he's going to go, I gather everything and pull it in tight to where he doesn't have anything to attack at this point. Now he has to switch from trying to get a knee inside to framing off of my knees, which helps open things up. Watch what this does to the arms. When you're in side control, here's something to keep in mind here. You always want to work from here as best as possible. When this starts to happen, things open up, right? The arms get long. Okay? All these things happen. So watch what happens. He gives me his frame, post out, I deploy, boom. Now he has to make his decision where he wants to go, and I gather. Now, when he figures this out, now he's got to start framing off of the knees, which opens up these arms. So once he makes his decision which way he wants to go, do not care. Figure it out and go. Now, I'm fighting inside. He's framing, trying to find a frame. The second he framed off of this leg went out to base. He pushed here. I came in and I trapped it. Now, we're going to start fighting for inside position. I want you guys to squat like this. The drill is going to be, they're going to be trying to get their knees inside. Okay? These elbows are going to be fighting to control this inside position. That's your job. He's going to fight to get back inside. You're going to fight. We're fighting to maintain position, and we're going to try to keep the knees inside. He's got to figure out a way to escape. Okay? Fighting to control that inside position. A little bit of sparring and drilling with it. Failed attempt at a back step. Why did it work? Why did he not catch me in half guard? Because I didn't do this. I kept everything super tight. When I was here, tried to take the back step, I brought it here and floated. Didn't work, and we came right back down and reset. Make sense? Nothing opened up like this. Everything stayed super tight. Fighting for inside control. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. To prevent turns. Okay? Knees, elbows. Some critical hand placements. The trainer and I were just working this. This is not an easy concept. You get to where you can literally deny anybody a turn any which way they want. It's kind of a wow factor. When you see somebody functioning at this level doing this, it's very, very, very impressive to see because it just doesn't look like they can turn any way. there's not really any weight down on them. They're not holding them down. It's just every which way they go, they're getting defeated. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. So when I pop up and get into here, I'm kind of in this squat position. All right. What we were just talking about is, he made a good point of, I feel like when this hand comes inside, all bets are off, right? I'm in trouble here. Well, you have to work at it, and you have to look at everything, okay? So look, he's only got a couple different choices here. Posting or turning, whichever way he wants to go. If he wants to turn this way, one of the easiest things to do is to pull this arm up. Make sense? I can transition between pulling and cradling. And notice I'm staying active. So I keep this up this way. If he decides that he wants to now, he goes, well, he's not letting me turn this way. I want to turn this way. I reach across and I pull up on this knee. That keeps him from turning to the right. Now all of a sudden he says, no, I want to go back over to the left because he turned me this way. Now I'm going to pull this one this way. Make sense? Okay. So I'm alternating my pulling or my pushing. If he posts off of this and he says, well, I just want to turn. He's knowing that if he posts this way, he's going to turn which way? Am I going to address this? Is it smart to address this? Hold on, go back to it. He starts to push off of this. What do I need? Which way is he ultimately going to turn? Why? Most of us would grab this hand. Why?
Because it's there.
Okay. What's going to prevent him from turning is grabbing this one. So now it doesn't matter if he pushes off of that. I'm going to pull this one, or I'm at least going to prevent it from getting turned. So now turn into me. There is no turn there. Even though he posted off of that one, so then we're right back up here and we're in the squat. He's like, well, I'm going to post off of this one now. Well, I understand. He wants to turn this way, so watch. As he pushes it, I'm grabbing this bottom side leg so that if he turns, I'm just lifting it up on this side. Now he settles back down and we're right back into the squat. My bad. Right back into the squat. Okay? Now he just says, to hell with it. I'm just going to launch my hands through and watch what happens. What just happened here?
Kept your shoulders from being able to roll over here.
I blocked it. Temporarily, I blocked it. By turning the head there. Posting my hand right beside the head. Now, if I want to stop it, I can't hold it here forever. He's going to turn. If I want to stop him entirely, what do I got to do? Boom. 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 He starts to turn into me now. Boom. He's not turning this way. Now I can come back and grab the knee. Now I can go back to squatting. So the way we play with this is, you go to your squat, you have your partner start throwing all kinds of random crap at you. Okay? Here he goes. He gives me my post. I flatten out. Boom. Now I hop. Now he's just going to start throwing random junk, trying to get out. Nope. Collar controls, pulling, pushing, pulling, cradling, pulling, pushing, blocking, blocking, pulling up. All different ways of stopping them. It's going to be hard to do now because you're not allowed to keep your weight on. Okay? So what you do now is you float, see if they can escape. If they escape, you suck. If you hold them down, you're great. Okay? If they escape and you suck, start over. Go again. 5 times each. Switch. Got it? Here we go. 1, 2, 3.